Hello, it's Andrea with Egger Equine, and I have Frosty with me, my Appaloosa gelding. Today I wanted to go over a couple basics of Western saddle fit. Now you can see that Frosty doesn't actually have a saddle on him right now. When you do fit a saddle, you want to make sure that they don't have a pad on, that you're putting the saddle directly onto their backs. So I'm going to get my Western saddle and we're going to go over just some of the basic points. Now, one thing I do want to point out when you're putting your saddle on your horse is you don't want it to be on top of the horse's scapula. A lot of times I will see people put their saddles on up here, and that's staying directly on their shoulder blades, so they won't be able to actually move their shoulders the way that they're designed to go underneath the saddle. So you want to slide your saddle till it sits back behind the scapula of your horse's shoulder blade. Same thing. So I'm sorry for the sunlight, but another thing that I want to point out before I go into some of these basics is you can't, I know a lot of people sell saddles online. It's just the way that we do it nowadays. We'll post pictures and send measurements and things like that, but it's really hard to get a feel for if a saddle's gonna fit your horse that way. I speak from experience with that. I bought and sold 3 Western saddles before I got this one because the dimensions were right, but they just didn't fit my horse. So you're never going to be able to get a really good feel from pictures if it's actually going to fit your horse well. Now, Western saddle trees are bigger than English saddle trees. And that is for the purpose of they're designed to fit a broad range of horses. You'll hear things like semi-quarter bars, full quarter horse bars, things like that. And every brand has their own idea of what that is. So you're gonna have to try the saddle on your horse, is the moral of the story there. But some of the things that you're gonna wanna look for when you actually put the saddle on your horse is you're gonna take your fingers and see if you can run them underneath here. It should be nice and smooth. There shouldn't be any like tight spots. A lot of times up here it'll be too tight and you'll be stuck to get your fingers through. So that's a good sign that your saddle might not fit the best. And then you're gonna actually take your hand, I'm gonna put my diamond under there so I don't hurt him, and you're gonna run it all the way under the tree to make sure that it's a nice even feel all the way across their back. There's 2 things that you would be looking for. One, if you have a gap in the middle here where there's air, that's called bridging. So you're gonna just have the contact on both ends of the saddle, and those are gonna be pressure points for your horse. It's not gonna be a nice even distribution of your weight. So that will cause saddle fit issues and back pain and things like that. Another one on the opposite end of that is rock. A lot of times you'll get a saddle that has too much curve for your horse's back and it'll actually rock back and forth. Now I'm being very dramatic here, but when you put the saddle on, if it's rocking back and forth like that, that's also a sign that it's not the best fit for your horse. So those are some of the things that you're gonna wanna look for when you actually try a saddle on your horse, or you can check your saddle, which is a good idea to do every couple months, and make sure that it is still fitting your horse well, because we all know they change with the summer and the fall and up and down in their weight and things like that. If it is a decent fit for your horse, generally you can get through the year with them with padding. So with a Western saddle pad, you generally, for most disciplines, will need like about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick wool pad. If you're going to the inch thick pads and things like that, you don't really need that unless you're doing something really hard like roping. If you do have a thicker pad like that, it can actually get in the way of the actual true fit of the saddle. So it ends up getting a little too tight for your horse. So if you're using an inch thick pad and all you're doing is just Western pleasure or even trail riding, something like that, you might want to downsize the size of your padding there and see if that gives you a better feel for your saddle. Those are just some of the basics that I wanted to talk over with you. If you find any of these questionable with the saddle that you have, or if you get a saddle on trial and think that any of these things are amiss, you might want to look into getting a saddle fitter out to see your horse. If you're in Pennsylvania, I do know a couple saddle fitters that do fit Western saddles, which is hard to come by in Pennsylvania. But if you're in Pennsylvania, I would be happy to refer them to you to see if we can get a better fit for your horse. If you have any questions about any of the things that we went over today, please comment below and let me know. And make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel to get more tips and tricks on how to better work with your horse. So thank you so much for watching me and Frosty today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.